let's take House of CB. They're designed for the male gaze with their figure hugging, bodycon, multiple slits, and more so edgy look. So in a brand that was designed for the nightlife.
So we know that House of CB looks good on the tiny waist, small ribcage baddies.
Started to create more softer, feminine looking clothes, more ruffles, the color palette, the patterns.
Just a little bit confused. Like, what in the Tudor century living world is that? I just want to know, like, who's actually buying these items.
It seemed as if their clothes were more so designed for the female gaze, shall I say, and also less for the club, and more so for a soft life on a farm. Also, we can't deny the rise of the trad wife trend.
Have you seen these millennial and Gen Z girls? They just want to be at home with their kids. They want to have husbands and they want to take care of their husbands. They want to cook and they want to clean and they want to wear dresses.
The likes of Nara Smith gaining more popularity these days. Initially, this video was going to be a very simple clothing haul, but then I realized that the clothes I reach for today in comparison to what I used to reach for a couple years ago, not even too long ago, feels good, is very different. And I do feel like the beliefs that I used to carry back when I was 18 up until the age of 23 is very different to what I believe in right now. And when it comes to personal style and clothing, I speak for myself and many of us, there are many things that impact how we dress, things like cultural expectations, even things like the movies we watch. It's a bit of a controversial topic, but we can all see that Bollywood is genuinely designed for the male gaze. The movies they make, the kinds of songs there are, very few of the movies are actually made for the female gaze, which are two completely different things. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Maryam, and on this channel we talk about all things fashion and lifestyle. I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Now, what looks feminine for me may not be the same for you. The purpose of this video is to share with you guys how my style has changed over the years and what has impacted it, because I personally feel like my style reflects where I am in my life, as in my beliefs, how I'm feeling about myself, my confidence level, my feminine versus masculine energy balance. I definitely think that that impacts my style. All right, so first let's talk about what my old style looked like and my old beliefs as well. The number one belief I had in my mind was that in order to be successful or achieve anything in life, I have to work very, very, very hard. It's very normal to have this belief, and frankly speaking, it's very true. However, I believe that was the only way to achieve goodness or success in life, i.e. there was one time in my life where I was working a full-time job, a 9-to-5 that was very demanding. I was also working a part-time job and also doing content creation on the side. And now I thought I was doing the right thing, working super hard, because essentially in my mind, to be successful, I have to be working myself super hard and almost drowning myself in work. And it's not uncommon to see that in South Asian households, especially because the South Asian population in general is a very hard-working population. It's well known around the world. The point I'm trying to make is that it's a very common belief to have that you have to be working yourself to the ground every single day in order to be good enough.
I'm over hustle culture. I'm not trying to prove that I'm working or I'm killing it to anybody. Once I also let that go, I feel like my work started getting better.
I will not lie to you guys. I was deriving a lot of my self-worth with what I was doing every single day, with the amount of work I was getting done, with the amount of money I was making. Those were my core beliefs at the time, whether I like to believe it or not. And I could see that in my style as well. The clothes I would gravitate towards used to be so plain, as in like regular crew necks, sweatshirts, leggings, blazers, square cut tops, very basic and plain. The way I believed I had to be, very simple, only focusing on work, was how I dressed and showed up in the world as well. And it's so interesting. I mean, I thought I was such a boss babe as well, working so many jobs and working myself to the brim and not getting the rest I had to get as well. And honestly, hustle culture tells us that we have to work ourselves literally to sleepless nights in order to be successful. And while that is the route many people do take and do end up being successful, but they do miss out on a lot on the way. And the point I'm trying to make is that that's not the only way to achieve greatness. One of my favorite movies, Dear Zindagi, in which Alia Bhatt is going to therapy and Shah Rukh Khan is her therapist, he says something that's honestly so powerful. He says something along the lines of, oftentimes in life we think that we have to take the most difficult path in order to achieve greatness or do something something good. It's okay to work smartly. Working hard and working smartly should go together, and you should never derive your self-worth with the amount of work you get done, with the degree you have, the school you went to, how much money you're making. But it's so common, especially as someone in South Asian household, when from a very young age, through your schooling system, through what's pushed in the media and the narratives, it's very easy to believe that you have to constantly work hard in order to be successful. But it's actually okay to work smarter, as in not give yourself sleepless nights. Work on having a good balance in your life, because that's what true success is. It's when you have autonomy in your life. Tying back to the style I used to wear back then, I used to really focus on things like comfort, like the joggers I was wearing. I used to love buying blazers. I mean, my color palette was also very minimal, as in it lacked color. And I wasn't really a big jewelry person either. Like, I enjoyed it, but not so much. I kind of was dressing very practical and very much so like no distractions, just focusing on what I wanted to get done. And looking back, I was definitely more in my masculine energy over my feminine energy. And now let me give you guys a few examples of what masculine energy can look like. Masculine energy loves a challenge, competition, is very driven, strong, and very purpose driven, whereas feminine is very radiant, free-flowing, seeks and gives love, is very caring, nurturing. Looking back, I definitely was operating from more of my masculine energy, and it reflected in how I showed up in the world, the kinds of clothes I wore. And another cultural thing that's really impactful is Bollywood, and a lot of the times they even have things called item songs, which honestly, it's literally the most textbook way to objectify a woman is to call her an item. That's a whole different story. Maybe I'll make a video about that another time, but you can see through like the movies as well. You may be subconsciously pushed to wear certain things for the male gaze to gain their validation. And now I'm not saying that whoever dresses in a certain way is seeking validation. However, that narrative can be pushed through the media. And now let's talk about the shift I made to be more feminine and how that actually came to be. So essentially, over time, I started to learn that my self-worth should not come from how much work I output, because at the end of the day, we are human beings and not human doings. Our worth doesn't come from what we do in the world. It comes from who we are, our set of beliefs. The word is human beings and not human doings. And that was something that really shifted my mind. And also that one line from SRK's movie, I mean, that was a very powerful line, because it's not important to always work yourself to the ground in order to achieve something. Slowly and gradually, I was able to be at a place in my life where I was only working one job, and then I had YouTube on the side. And my goal from the very start was to make YouTube my full-time job, as in only have to create content and not have to work a job anymore. And once I took that leap, that's when I found that I was being more softer and feminine as well. I also became a cat mom of 2. I got 2 kittens, and that made me lean into my feminine energy more as well. I do believe that our feminine energy is so sacred, and sometimes we just need the right environment around us to express it. I found that once I met my current partner, whom I'm almost with almost 18 months, I feel like I was able to have a safe space where I could actually express that feminine energy, because as all of us females know, our femininity doesn't come out in front of everyone. It comes out around people, around men who actually have the right masculine energy. If a man doesn't have the right kind of masculine energy, it's very hard for a woman to feel safe enough to be carefree and to be able to shut her mind off. This is an experience, unless you have experienced, it's hard to put into words, because as females, we tend to be super masculine because we don't feel safe in our environment. The feminine energy is very safe, nurturing, and giving, and it's hard to be that when you don't feel safe in your environment. So once I started to have a more safer environment around me by changing my belief systems, by changing the kind of men I was attracting in my life, it made it easier to be more soft and feminine. And the way I dress now, the kinds of clothes I wear now, even like with what I'm wearing now, I would have never gravitated towards a few years ago, because I do feel like my beliefs at the time would make me feel like, why am I wearing this? It's too like girly. Like, I'd rather be in something more practical. It was just something that came to me so naturally at the time. And now that I'm more softer with myself and I live more softly, I want to be more girly. I want to be more feminine. I love dressing girly. I love wearing frills in in my clothes. I love wearing pearls as well. I mean, the things I gravitate towards now, the things that make my heart happy now is so different to what it did before. I mean, I was so in love with being a girly girl that I even did a photo shoot in my desi wear. I mean, I wore a lehenga and I hired a photographer and I was just embracing my femininity, how nice and beautiful it felt to be a girly girl, someone who loves her culture. Like, I fell in love with my culture in such a different way as well this year. The videos I've been making, the topics I've been talking about, I genuinely want to connect with so many other South Asian women out there because it makes my heart so happy, making you guys feel like you're worthy and you're good enough, because you are. And I just want to spread that message as well. And that's also come from a place of my feminine energy to nurture and to care for others out there as well. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, is to remember that we are all human beings and not human doings. Our sense of self, our worth comes from the fact that we are an intentional creation of a perfect being. I hope you guys found some meaning and some healing in this video. I love you guys so much. Subscribe if you aren't already and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
You were going